The Elephant and the Smallest Friend, a tale of unlikely companionship. Across the vast golden plains of the African savanna, under the wide blue skies and warm sunlight, lived a mighty elephant named Maku. He was the strongest and largest animal in the savanna, with tusks that gleamed like ivory and a trunk powerful enough to uproot small trees. Yet, despite his great strength and reputation, Maku often felt a deep loneliness. It would be nice to have a real friend, Maku thought, gazing at the horizon one evening. But who could that be? Only someone as big and strong as me could truly understand me. One sunny afternoon, as Maku wandered near a grove of acacia trees, he heard a faint squeak. Startled, he stopped in his tracks and listened closely. The sound came again, soft and desperate. Following the noise, Maku spotted a small mouse struggling in a hole in the ground. The little creature had slipped and couldn't climb out. "Please help me." Maku was surprised by how tiny the voice was compared to the problems he usually dealt with. He leaned down and said, "You're so small. How did you get into this mess?" The mouse, whose name was Lila, looked up at him with pleading eyes. "I was running home when I tripped and fell. Please, I can't get out by myself." Maku hesitated for a moment, then gently extended his long trunk and scooped her out. The mouse trembled slightly but quickly recovered. "Thank you. You're my hero," Lila exclaimed, her tiny whiskers twitching with gratitude. Maku chuckled softly. "Hero? I just helped you out of a little hole. Besides, you're far too small to be my friend." Lila tilted her head and asked, "Why does size matter in friendship?" But Maku didn't answer. He gave her a polite nod and continued his walk through the savanna. The next day, trouble came unexpectedly. As Maku roamed near a swamp to drink some water, he stepped into a patch of thick, sticky mud. He tried to pull himself free, but the more he struggled, the more trapped he became. "Help!" Maku trumpeted, his voice echoing across the plains. "Somebody, please help me." The nearby animals heard him but were too afraid to approach. "What if we get stuck too?" whispered a zebra. "He's too big for us to help," muttered an antelope. Just as Maku began to lose hope, a familiar tiny voice called out, "Maku! I'm here." It was Lila, the little mouse he had rescued the day before. "You shouldn't be here," Maku said weakly. "This is no place for someone so small." "Nonsense," Lila replied firmly. "I can help." Without wasting a moment, Lila darted off through the bushes. She ran as fast as her tiny legs could carry her, calling out to the other animals along the way. At first, the larger animals hesitated. But seeing Lila's determination, they decided to follow her. Soon, antelopes, zebras, and even a flock of birds arrived at the swamp. Together, they worked as a team. The antelopes and zebras pushed from behind while the birds tugged at Maku's back with their beaks. Lila scurried around, directing the effort and encouraging everyone. One more pull. With a mighty heave, Maku was finally freed from the mud. He stood on solid ground, shaking off the dirt and looking at the group of animals that had come to his aid. His gaze fell on Lila, who was smiling proudly despite being the smallest of them all. "You saved me," Maku said, his voice filled with gratitude. "Even though you're so small, you made all this happen." Lila giggled. "Size doesn't matter when it comes to true friendship," she said. "It's about helping each other when it's needed most." Maku lowered his great trunk and gently lifted Lila onto his back. "You are the truest friend I've ever had," he said. From that day forward, Maku and Lila were inseparable. They wandered the savanna together, their unlikely friendship teaching other animals that kindness and support mattered far more than strength or size. Wherever they went, the sight of the mighty elephant and his tiny companion brought smiles to everyone who saw them. Moral asterisk: true friendship is not about how big or strong you are, it's about being there for one another when it matters most.